I hear something.
Dear friend.
You know what I like about these backgrounds is you can kind of maybe prepare the person if you want to do a rant. Just basically it up and go. It's coming, my friend.
Oh my, I'm in a justice conversation on a rant.
Well, what I found with rant is basically justice out of proportion, right? I mean, I'm valuing justice, and but I want to frickin' wail about it. So it becomes a rant, but the underlying intention behind it is justice. I found that with all the convo killers that there was an underlying value. Here, I'll show you a few more here.
Yeah,
Overkill intelligence.
intelligence overkill. Yeah, it's
Imagine,
like the on the other side of like going out like too much.
people are very imaginative. They're out to lunch to most people.
Yeah, but in terms of responsibility, there is a reason why they're in the combo killer conversation card set, right?
Responsibility. What are you talking about?
Well, in terms of responsibility, like for example, this rant, what is the result that you're getting from ranting? What is the result that you're getting from freaking out, for example, in the one that is in right now?
Right. Are you asking me, or it's a rhetorical question?
Well, I'm talking more in terms of responsibility of what are the results that you are getting, and to know that like if like it's in the combo killer for a reason, or is in that place because it kills the conversation, it kills the energy, it kills something from flowing for a good reason or for a bad reason. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, convo killers are very positive when they're stopping someone from fucking with you.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
So,
Mm.
what did you think about my feedback on your conversation?
It was amazing. I received your, yeah, like there was this, you were using the cards to describe what you witnessed in the conversation, and I thought that was great. And then you went on about like like there was no judgment in me, like I was appreciating, like that was like kind of like your process of like how using these cards to like it's almost like you're discovering a value for this card, or discovering like a way of using these cards in a different way. And yeah, I don't know that to me the value was in that there is a way to frame these conversations in a way that it can be like create value for almost like archives, something for like an archive, like something that a reference that you can uh, go into, like if you want to look for conversations where there's been connection and love happening, then you can see like get an example of this conversation or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically a codification for communication. So
Mm-hmm.
every aspect where there's communication, you can use it to sort of organize things.
Mm-hmm.
So it is almost endless. I'm finding the amount of different ways you can use them. You have that card set, right?
Yeah, yeah, I have it here with me actually.
How
It's
how
over
often
there.
how often do you pull it out?
Not often enough.
Like
Not often enough,
how many
man. Like
times since you got it?
so I did very powerful reading a few months ago to somebody that really needed it, and I have this map, right, the 5 spaces.
Yeah.
So I pulled that out and I did I put it on a community event, and I put it on the table, and I offered it in the circle, and then one person came in, and then I got busy with the children after that. But it was really powerful, and I probably done it like 5 to 6 times, something like that, since I got them, which is not enough for me. Like I carry them with me in my backpack, and I have them with me where I go, and I'm not using them enough, but often because I'm so damn busy.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, if you have a card set, let's say you have a card set and it's like a tarot deck, right? And people, some people might choose a card a day, an angel card, or they may, once a full moon, they may do a reading. They may gather some ladies around and have a nice full moon reading, right? Or they've got a deep question that they need an answer to, and so they pull their cards out and they have the one deck, and they have, let's say, even 5-7 decks, and that's, let's say, the average card user. Now, if you go to the Magic game and they're playing Magic game, they got 150 decks and they're playing every day. Those are people playing a game. They love the game. They're always using cards, right? And so there's this spectrum of usability by whoever is going to have, let's say, the card set. The difference in this card set is that it's basically the way to make a living. It's like as the taxi is to the taxi driver, as the microphone is to the podcast person, to be a facilitator, to make a living with these tools, you fundamentally have to play with the tools. And I think it's like what Nova said yesterday about the mastermind between you and your wife, and thinking that you got very powerful, you're always in communication. And the key to you guys remaining intimate in such stressful situations, is really being able to communicate, right? And being able to be heard and being able to feel like you're loved. And you can get through anything, I think, if a couple is really loving to one another in their hearts, right? They're always thinking the best and they're always kind of considering the other. But as soon as you start to get that negativity, as soon as you start to get resentment or blame or all of the other, things that about, it changes it, right? The field changes, and all of a sudden the stressful situation is horrible. But if you still have that, I think, loving connection, humans can get through a lot, knowing that it's not going to last. You're going somewhere else. A beautiful place is going to appear, and you're just in one of these lulls, right? Where you're stuck. And so you're stuck. What do you got to do? Did I ever tell you about this RV that got stuck in the mountains? I had 12 people in an RV, and we were coming up on a road, and then we went up and went boom, and our axles were stuck, and all of a sudden we're in the middle of nowhere. We're, I don't know, like a couple hours from the rainbow gathering by driving, and maybe 6 hours from a town by driving, and 12 people in an RV. And what I found, it taught me a principle, I think, of, we tried, I think, 9 times. It was like Robert Bruce in the Spider story, where 9 times you tried it, and then each time you think you're adding enough force and commitment and strength, but it's not enough. And so you got to keep adding your leverage until you get to the point where you've done everything possible, the minutia of everything, and everyone is giving everything, and all of a sudden the RV gets going. And I think we're in a situation like that, where what I have found, it's like each of us has these, let's say, 9 levels of commitment, and each time we think we have enough and it's going to take us to where we need to go, but it isn't. There's so much resistance in ourselves and other people. There's the situation out there is so untrusting that whatever to bring in conscious, trusting community to a bunch of frazzled maniacs who are always stressed out about bills and they've lost their ability to connect. It's, you have to know the height of the mountain that you're approaching. So if you think I'm approaching a small hill and geez, why can't I get up the place? And all of a sudden the clouds part, there's this massive mountain, and the size of the problem. And I think that when you get that persistent, when like I read in this book, right? It was the one thing in the whole book And it changed my life because my attitude was not, I will do anything to make this happen. Doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to do it. And what happens, the attitude turns you into James Bond. Before that, I had I'm not going to do it because of this, and I'm not doing it because of that. I'm not doing it because of this. And I had all my reasons why I get irritated or shut down. And so I wasn't making the real progress. And then as soon as that one book said that one thing, and it was again the attitude that you will do anything necessary to create your vision. And that creates something completely unstoppable. Because like what Nova was saying yesterday about the mindset, right? The mindset is everything. Doesn't matter what's going on around you. If you have the right mindset, you can deal with. James Bond can deal with anything. You think your life is bad? Fucking James Bond is being, thrown out of a plane. He's getting shot. He's whatever he is. But and it may be, just a fictional character. But it's like, I think in terms of achieving something, we can go normal or we can go James Bond. And you got to know which times you got to go James Bond, which means nothing is stopping me from achieving my goal. Nothing is stopping me from getting to where I'm going to go. Doesn't matter if they help me. Doesn't matter if they like me. Doesn't matter if I got the money. If I got James, it doesn't matter. When you have that focus, when you are so determined, you have absolutely no doubt. And I think that's what I said to you before about the ship, right? And you had the metaphor of the ship. And what happens is there's this crew member called Doubt. And he jumps on the ship. And when you're not looking and you're sort of in confusion, wondering what's going on, he comes up and he grabs it. And there's he's almost invisible. And you're confused until you realize, okay, I'm doubting. Okay, if I'm doubting, that means Doubt has control of my ship. So you go to the steering wheel and go, excuse me, and you toss Doubt off the ship and you get back into the James Bond mindset. And it's like the bringing it back to that mindset becomes the default. The default isn't confusion or doubt. The default is certainty. The default is you're a fucking spiritual warrior. You're connected to your soul. You have no doubt when you're connected. Nothing. You come in and go, here's the next step. 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 The mind goes outside of that and going, blah, blah, blah. No, James Bond, next step it and fucking bring up your game to the point where every act is a spiritual action. And that's where you get your dignity, independent of whether you have fucking money. Right? I mean, most people in your situation would be like, fucked, but you continue to do it. And at some point, all of a sudden, I think with the synergy of the team, the energy is going to change for all of us. Abundance is going to flow for all of us. I mean, we are so leveraged. We are so in a good position to do well. The world needs what we have, and it's there. It's just a matter of putting the container. That's it. We put the container, we start to communicate, boom. At some point, there's going to be 1,000 people knocking on our door, 1,000 going, train me, train me, train me. And you got to have that not knowing that's what's going to happen. It's not a maybe. It's not I hope. It's not, oh, well, no. It's like James Bond is bringing the full force of the fucking everything with him. He's not just one man. He has the full force of everything. We are sort of in alignment with the higher processes of our species. We are the one. The reason we couldn't fit, the reason we couldn't do everything, we just couldn't. It's not in our DNA. We're here to build something new. We're not here to make a living in that fucking mess.
Yeah.
We're here to create the new, and you have essential parts. You have your own content, and what I have is a structure. The structure goes first because then the structure can be repeated to other people. The content is your personal instruction, but the structure is what we all use to get all our content out there. So there has to be a knowledge of the difference between structure and content, and then knowing what is yours and what is the structure that we share. And as a teacher, you got to teach both. And what I'm going to teach you is the structure, because that's kind of like my content. So when you get the structure, you can find where your stuff fits. You can teach it in the way that you want it, but you're still going to have to teach the structure to other people so we can repeat. Because whatever we're doing, we're passing on and repeating, passing on and repeating. And what I've got is a time structure that fits all the content inside, and then structures it for software and structures it for your mind. And what you have is like one of 24 people who have a prototype card set that no one else on the planet has. And if, let's say, all the printers stop tomorrow and all of a sudden no more card sets, this could be like a magical card deck that can design anything, that can solve anything, that can do, there's so many things that you can do with that card deck. Every day I find out something different, and each one is valid. Like just this, if you just had 2 of the cards, just values and combo types, massively valuable. Combo types on their own, massively valuable. Every business on the planet needs this. Every business on the planet needs better communication. Every family on the planet needs better communication. Everybody needs communication training. It is the top priority for every human being to become a better communicator.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and
this is the new codification system for that, and you are going to be the head trainer.
amazing. So here, amazing. Thank you for going back to like this James Bond and the like being the ordinary person in the normal world, and then going into the James Bond where you got like that no matter what. You to me you're describing like low drama, like when I'm in the low drama of like, oh, I have to pay the bills, I have to feed the dog, I have to go for a walk, I have to exercise, these ordinary things. And then you got the high drama, the James Bond, where it's like he's still getting shot, he's still getting like persecuted by these spies and things, he still got to like crawl, but it's like he's in his purpose, like he's in this like a spiritual choice of like making those choices every moment. So yeah, like I'm finding like with communication, what you're bringing is essential, and there is still like so much inside me that's blocking me from actually communicating, even though I have done all this teamwork, all this research, I have done like all these experiments and healing work inside of myself, of my emotional healing, about my voice, about like child wounds, about like my underworld, and about all of these things. There is still resentment in my relationship that is so big that like it really like it like it goes into that underworld where I'm not able to communicate. And so what I'm working on right now to deliver these cards, to deliver this value, is doing like getting to look at my baggage. What is it that I'm so heavy that I'm not able to fucking move and to actually like go. I want to go in the street and like set up a booth in like a busy place, a market, and have this available. Like this is one of the offerings that I have. I'll give you a reading.
Can I time out for a second? I just want to give you some quick feedback on something. First of all, everything's relative. Compared to most people I see, the amount of authenticity you have, the amount of vulnerability you have, the amount of what you're bringing to the surface of your own shadow is, let's say it's in the top 10%, top 5% among normal people, and then going to the spiritual people, who knows, what it is. But I'm just saying that everything is relative. How old are you?
It's a secret.
Okay, so my
Close
guess
to 40.
What's that?
Close to 40.
Well, okay, it doesn't matter. But what I'm just saying in terms of your own age, of looking at your stuff and doing your spiritual practice, I'm just saying you're ahead of the game. So in terms of just relativity, you're never going to be fucking perfect. You're never going to be at that state, because that's what drives you. Your desire to be better drives you. So dissatisfaction is driving you. So it is a force that you could use for your own fuel. But it's kind of like, just like, there's a real, I think the last addiction to give up for the spiritual warrior is the addiction to healing. Like, there's one thing I think about what Andrew Tate says, and I don't know if you've heard anything about him, but about depression. He has a very strong, sort of independent of how he feels, he's going to get the work done that day. His self-discipline is going to kick in. And what I've seen is we're all going to feel shitty. We're all going to feel freaking grief. How could you not in this freaking world and what we're going through? But to me, it's like, I look at work output a day. For me, I see how many videos am I making? How many maps am I making? How many conversations am I having? And I'm gauging my output. That's my parameter for going, did I have a good day? It's not how much money did I make? It's not how good I feel. And what I find is when I'm in a down state, I'm unproductive. When I get to too down state, I'll go meditate, or I won't be operating at this high level that I really like, of high end creative outputs, pouring out like a fucking book a day, like a map that could be a book a day, high end. So for you, it's like looking at, you've really got to distinguish your family life from your business life. And it's like, let's say you have to have 2 good business hours a day. You've got all these other things, but 2 to 4 business hours that you have to have a day. And you may feel like if you're not getting paid, how could you do that? Because there's all this other stuff to do. But you should be aiming at making $100 an hour, 2 to 4 hours a day, right? $100 an hour, 2 to 4 hours a day. So you're making $200 to $400 a day. And that's structured. And if you're not getting that, you're marketing. You're figuring out the website, your materials, if you're not making the money that you're making, you got to focus all your attention on your marketing, either your marketing or whatever materials you're going to be presenting. But for you right now, it's not, we got all materials. Don't worry about materials. For you, it's marketing. It's the marketing materials. It's the offer. It's the container. It's that website. It's a business card. It's like all of the things essential for you to go sell something tomorrow, and they give you the money to buy it, right? So it's like you're doing coach. And then the idea about this is looking at your ideal week of going, okay, I've got 2 to 4 coaching clients. I've got 1 group facilitation I paid, and I got 2 teams I'm meeting with, I'm not paid. That's part of my service or whatever you're doing, right? And so you're figuring out from your business point of view, these are my business things I'm doing in the community, in the group space, or the one-on-one space, right? Go back to that map and map out a week. And it's actually 4 weeks because your rotation is going to be different. And okay, I'm doing one-on-one coaching Tuesdays from 9 to 11. I'm doing group space facilitation where I pay $500 on Thursdays from 6 to 7. Take a look at your map and just your ideal. If life was perfect, if you could have anything you wanted, how would you structure your time? Because you're not, I think I said this to you before, I'm not sure, but it's like you have to get so good with time. You have to be so good with creating your boundaries as a man and saying, I'm going out hunting, or I'm going out to go get the business, right? Because you're always at home and you can't distinguish your business time from your family time. And most people, they go out 8 in the morning and they come back 6 at night, right? And I'll bet you're not doing that. And I'll bet, you haven't come up with an agreement with your wife about how you're going to spend your time to go put the money on the table. And you have to have there has to be, she has to agree to whatever it is. And then you have to go do it. Because what happens is, there's all of your time could go to your family. And it could be, as you said, it could be sucked up forever, right? Everyone wants dad's time, and there's always shit you got to do. But other people are leaving at 8 in the morning and working till 6 and coming home with a paycheck, and they survive. They get through it. For you, it might just be 4 hours. For you, it might be 6 hours. For you, it might be 2 hours, whatever it is, depending on your day, because you have the freedom. But at some point, it's scheduled. You've done it. I'm going to help you. Whatever you fucking want, I'm going to help you get. You got the full focus of Captain Sweet, which at some point may be a little irritating, but until you get there, none of this is going to go anywhere, right? The whole idea of Planetary Guardians is we help each other get our dollar per hour. We help each other get our lifestyle first, because you can't help the team. You can't do screw all until you're doing it. But if I help you, everything I'm doing forwards my mission. Everything I'm doing forwards Planetary Guardians' mission. Everything I do forwards the the inflow matrix being created, because this is it. The inflow matrix is a thinking system shared by a team that assists them to create the lifestyle that they want. And then
Yeah.
that thinking system and the tools you can pass on to anybody. Whatever map I give you, whatever you get, you can give to anybody. That's the whole leverage point. If I give you one map at $100, we sit here for an hour and I give you that 5 communication spaces map, you now for the rest of your life can charge someone $100 an hour, do the exact same thing that I did with you because it has such high value. And you could do it. You could do just that one map the rest of your life 3 times a day, and that's all you did. That's such a good map. A 1-year goal and a value completely changes how people think. You are living experience of it, right? We went through that. You did that. You can speak about that through your experience. But every other map keeps adding onto it. So it's like whether it's multi-level, I guess, but it's knowledge being shared. This is a whole thinking system. This has all the pieces that you or anyone can use to go make a living. But you can also use it as a structure to put your content in to go bring into the world. And at some point, when we have a whole shared knowledge community of 144 people, we have a marketing department, we have an infrastructure department, we have all of these people that are on our team with pure friendship, no one's screwing anybody, wanting to change the world, knowing that we're building a cell that is the prototype for building a new system. So everything you're doing is in alignment with that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna let it land.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm gonna let it land because what you're bringing, I feel you're speaking to my being. You're speaking to my being and like getting this energy that you're passing of what's possible. And I hear like the what lands the most for me is this time, becoming a time maker and creating, like being really good at time. And yeah. There is that part of myself that still has resistance about something like $1 per hour. Like I hate that. I don't want that. Like I don't want for my time to be equal to money. And I get like I have no resistance to money and receiving money. That's my, like, it's so big right now. Like the resistance that I have with money is so big that I have to work with it. Like I've had such a big resentment to the world and money that it's like I'm working with it, and I'm getting so close to it, and like I'm opening my being to receive that as a form of energy, as a form of valuing my time and valuing what I'm doing. And like there it's just big, like, so it's not like I can change that from one moment to another. So I'm working on these things, and I'm working on, like, yeah, like what you said, like that structuring, like how do I frame my offering, how do I put a container for my offering. And like what I'm the part where I'm in right now is that I'm working more closely with my circle. Like before, like I was offering these things to like the outer community and like working directly with the community, but I didn't have like this tight connection with my circle. So that's the part in the maps of the spaces, it will be with the group space, with the inner group space. And yeah, like I'm working on that closeness with my group space and tightness, and like providing value to the group space, because it seems like I'm trying to jump to community before I'm with the group. And something about it is not working. Like my putting my offerings out there and they're not landing. I get like 1 or 2 people interested, and that's great. And still, like, it's like the universe is telling me, like, I'm scared of intimacy. I'm scared of working closely with one another, because I feel scared that they're gonna say no, or I feel scared of rejection from my close people that I'm working with, like my partner, like Elijah, like other families that I'm working with here, other individuals. And so yeah, like right now I'm like on group space. That's where most of my focus is. Like it's like this closeness, like coming into like allowing myself to be seen inside of my vulnerability, inside of my research, inside of like the messiness that it is to be me, inside of the like my passion, even about what I'm doing, let that be my value. Like going, like moving with the group.
How about just imagine this? Imagine you're on that ship again, right? And you're in that storm, and the storm's still going, but you've thrown doubt out, and you've just stabilized a bit, right? And a battleship and an aircraft carrier have just come beside you with me and Nova. Two very strong big ships that have just sort of buffered the storm. Mm-hmm. And it's the beginning of the fleet. And it's the beginning, and in the background, you look and you go, holy shit. There's like thousands of ships. There's like hundreds of thousands of ships. And we're at the tip of the phalanx. We're at the beginning. Because this operating system is going to connect everyone like mycelium. Everyone's a little mushroom that pops out of this. Human beings are creating their own AI, and the software and our mental models need to match. That's the whole missing part about software. The way they create the systems is not based upon mental models. It's based upon little procedures. And so I'm like having something like this as an interface at the beginning, not like file edit, not like all of these little pieces where here, this is like the entry point. Here's the entry point to your data, information, and knowledge. Here's the entry point to me and you doing whatever we do together. Here's the entry point of the Inflow Matrix software team, but there'd be a whole bunch of places here. And then community, that's a journey into the infotech of an actual community that is our software, that's us. And then the sacred in the middle is, it's always there anyway, but how much sacredness do we bring in? But we're acknowledging it at the get-go as part of this whole idea. The whole system is acknowledge the sacred, because we've lost that. Mm-hmm. So as a starting map, this is the beginning of humans thinking in 5D. This is the beginning of humans always taking into account all of these in every interaction. And it's simple. That's simple. Like everyone can understand this map. But then boom, you take a value, you put love at group space. Boom, you take a value, you put wisdom at personal space. Boom, you take a value and you put justice at community space. Boom, you take a value, you put surrender at sacred space. And boom, you take a value, let's say put humor at one-on-one space. All of a sudden, we just programmed it. All of a sudden, we're just learning how to program intention into different communication spaces. This is a new skill. This is a new skill that can only be done really with this map and those values that you have as a card set. No one else can do it. No one else is doing it. It's the only one on the planet. And it's not by itself, which most maps are. Click, you go inside all these other maps. Click, you go inside all these other tools. Click, you go inside. It's a growing intelligence as we begin to learn to share knowledge together in a manner completely different than most people are used to, in full trust. Me and you not worrying about intellectual property, what's mine, what's yours. No, what are the best practices? How can we make this the best? What am I using? What are you using? How do you use it? How do we share that knowledge? How do we become more intelligent together? That's what group coherence does, that you and Nova and I have, where we're starting with all of us wanting to bring goodness into the world. We're sharing a value. We're sharing something. That's what I heard last night. And I agree with that. It's like, if we can't bring goodness into the world, what's the point? And what I saw in you was we're all like you. You're an example of everybody. We're all grieving. We're all hurting. We're all disconnected. We know something's missing and we don't know how to get it. How are we going to get it? It's going to come from us like this, talking, sharing, connecting, and caring about one another in a way that goes beyond money, in a way that goes beyond, why am I talking to you? Because I'm making money? No, I'm talking because we're building something amazing together. And hopefully,
but it's also beyond production, also like, yeah, like beyond money, beyond production, beyond creating a result. And you're talking about this thing called goodness, and it's, I guess like what I want to say about this is the a goodness, like we're bringing like the fuck, I don't know where to start with this, but it's like this dichotomy of good and bad, good and evil, right and wrong. And like I'm learning how to, like, that all of those two, they come together. We cannot bring goodness without bringing the other side of it. And this is so obvious to me, and like it makes this like about like what is my purpose, and like how am I relating to this other side that I'm wanting to move away from. Yeah, okay, so right now you have the background fear and love here on each side. And it's like there is a, like, to me that present moment is coming like to here. uh well, it's like I see fear and love, and before, for me, fear was this thing that was bad and that it wasn't good, that was evil, that was like, actually, like, I thought fear was like the destruction of the world. And and like now, like, I'm in creating like a new relationship with my fear. Like, I'm not saying that fear is bad and I'm pushing it away, but I'm saying like fear is part of my experience. Fear is one of my feelings. I feel scared. I feel scared of. I feel scared of being alone. I feel scared of like losing all my shit, or like losing my friends. I feel I feel scared of saying the wrong thing, and this is like one of my fears, for example. And this is so I've learned to integrate that energy of fear into my experience, because not as a way of rejecting it, but as a way of like recognizing that that is there, and that if I don't work with it, it owns me. If I don't recognize like I'm scared, then I'm gonna be unconsciously scared, and I'm gonna be driving my experience from fear. Like, it's just gonna be like going and going, and I'm just gonna keep going without knowing what's under there. What is really my fear about. And a lot of the time, what's that?
so, well, I wanted to just again put a timeout in and just say there's a big difference between fear with a reference point and fear without a reference point. And if,
Yeah.
and if you're not on your spiritual purpose, if you don't know what your mission is, if you're not actually in that direct intuiting, knowing what you're doing, fears will come up. They're different fears than if you don't know what you're doing and you're confused about what you're going to do. And I think just to be able to distinguish those two, because when, again, doubt's on the ship and you're fearful or whatever, to deal with that is you have to remove doubt from the ship. If you're dealing with fears while you're on your real purpose, then those are like, let's say, childhood trauma blocks that you need a different methodology for. And I think that's huge to distinguish, because if we're in a, like, most people are very confused because they have no reference point. And what this does is this creates an interior reference point to now gauge everything. And for you, the more you get structured with your time and the more you go, this is what I'm going to do, then the fears are going to come up. And then you have to have a methodology to deal with that, because you are going to do that. The James Bond, doesn't matter if you get fear or not, you're going through it. but you know, it's like it's like playing basketball. You're scared before the game. It's the playoffs. It's a big game. But as soon as you get into the game, you're not scared anymore. Fear is not something that lasts when you're in your flow. And so again, your default is you're always in the flow and you might fall out of it. But right now, your default is no, you're in your fear. And sometimes you get to flow. And so that's at the present moment at the flow wheel. That's what your blocks come up at 7, path block. You're either in the flow at 8, present moment flow, or you're consciously taking someone down a path, you're consciously moving down a path, or you're encountering a block. And that's why in the flow cards, if you look at the cards, there's path and block, and there's flow and strategy. At 8, there's flow and strategy. At 7, there's path and block. Path and block are minute to minute. Flow is present moment. So the present moment flow state is the highest work state. You're either in that or you're not. When you can distinguish that, when you know you're blocked, then you have your methodologies to get out of that. And then you're training your mind. You're training to get out of it quicker and quicker and quicker. Because the Jedi Knight at some point is always in flow.
Yeah.
You're fully present. You're boom.
Mm-hmm. Right on. I see, Frank. Where do I want to go? There is a few things that are popping out in my bubble right now, and it's this thing about learning that I'm kind of like in this map for the synergy map, and there is. So I don't know. I think the point of all of this is connection and relating and being in the present and there is a point of pushing. There is a point where like we need that push, where there is like that way of learning of pushing, of like this is your next step, this is the next thing, and here is the information, and this is what you're missing, and here is some other possibilities, and that is we call that the pushing method. And then there is also another method that is called a vacuum method. That is like going by what is the question right now, like what is the question for myself, what is the doorway that I'm in, what is the next question for me or for you, for creating that space with a question that is very relevant and very that is present, and it creates that space, a vacuum that creates the next movement. So it doesn't need to be pressure. There is no pressure. It's just like boom, you create a question, very simple, very very relevant, and it opens up that space. So the like a question right now, it could be.
So what's your question? Yeah, what's your question?
Yeah, right. A question. So a question for this space could be like, what is happening with energy in this space, like in terms of how we are creating things together, or how you have been creating things, how have I been creating things, how is that energy flowing, what is draining most of the energy, or what is like taking the energy from going from like going into nothing, like what is the like effort, what is like the exhaustion of the energy.
Can I offer something? I just like to offer a different question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
What do I need to release in order to allow the flow of abundance in my life?
What do I need to release in order to allow the abundance
The
to
flow
flow
of abundance.
the flow of abundance through my life? Yeah,
Do you have the card set with you?
I can go get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're watching, what can happen is that as you come up to a block, or as you come up to something that is in front of you, you can bring the cards out and ask the question in relationship to that block. Okay, so you've asked that question, and
Wait. I don't have my headphones.
Okay.
Okay.
And then pull a value card, a convo type, and a choice lens. And then as you pull it up to the camera just so we can see it.
Okay. So you said a value card, a choice lens, and a combo type.
Convo type.
Okay.
Green, purple, blue.
So first one I got value lens, courage.
Okay. You want to read what it means?
Courage, to value the quality of mind or spirit that enables a person to face difficulty, danger, pain, etc. without fear.
Okay.
See, like there is goes that
That's very interesting, isn't it? Considering we were talking about fear.
yeah, and this is like to me like one of the parts that is no, like creating resistance inside of like how I'm working with fear and the work that I'm doing with fear. But I get it, and I have resistance still. Like there is still so much that I want to like share about it and talk about it, because fear is a huge resource. And I have fear right now. I'm using my fear to connect with you and to be in contact with you and to be in touch with reality, with actually what's happening right now. So I'm gonna pull out another one.
Convo type.
Is this it?
That's
Score?
Okay, that's the choice lens.
Oh.
Purple.
Okay. Oh wow. I had this one in between all of the purple ones.
Okay.
Substance.
That helps. Okay.
That's funny. I pulled it out and it was in the middle.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna pull out a combo type. I got visioning.
Okay, read that.
Stewardship conversation, visioning. To build and empower a vision in the ether by continually speaking what it is. To build and empower a vision in the ether by continually speaking what is. Wow.
Okay, now put all four of them together.
4 or 3? There's 3 of them.
Well, the choice lenses usually come in polarities or duals too.
Yeah.
So it sounds like both of them are good. You have a subsistence score.
Okay, I didn't read score. I don't know what this is. He said to record the points or strokes made by the competitors in a game or match. Right. So yeah, like okay, like keeping score. Competitor in a game or match. Okay. Score substance. Wow. Okay, so we were talking from that question of what we need to release to allow abundance to flow through our life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from what I'm getting from this is like courage to speak my vision, and this choice lens is telling me about the like my question that I asked about energy and where is my energy going, and there might be a process for me that I'm still keeping score, that I'm like something about me is like in a power struggle, uh, and and also like it's telling me about the time, like how to like keep better track of time, and like more like accountability, something like find a way to measure what I'm doing. So I have them here. I don't know where to put them. Courage.
Yeah, like I need to make little things you can stick them in. I think that's a big missing piece because you can have like a shell of the day or whatever.
It'll be cool if we can like have virtual reality. I can just like put him like that and he stays in the background.
Yes.
And I, like that.
Yeah. Did you want me to give my interpretation?
Yeah, yes. Yes, go ahead.
I mean, if you've had a vision long enough, at some point it feels like you're saying the same thing. And if you don't have a lot of, let's say, supposed progress, and actually you're in a lull or you're flailing, it's difficult to speak about your vision about the community or whatever it is about anything because you're sort of flailing in the water.
What are you laughing about?
Well, I'm laughing because it applies to myself so much in terms of, I think we're similar, but I just have more years behind my flailing in a sense. And so, but the thing about a vision is it's what's to be. And when you enroll other people, then everyone does it together. You can't do it by yourself. The reason we are, or you are the way we can't, this has to be done by a lot of people together, where we learn how to use this together. It's not a single or couple of people doing it, right? And so to be a visionary, to have the courage to speak your vision, it's a lot of those blocks or resistances or fear that you have or I have, that's what stops it, right? I mean, if you're not everybody's a Martin Luther King or Gandhi who no matter get up on this podium and start giving their vision, then everyone's like, yay. If Martin Luther King's been by himself for 20 years speaking of the vision, but no one was listening, right? So it's like there's a long period of time where you have the vision, you're working on it, but you haven't got to the point like James Bond where it's like, okay, I'm going to stand up here and now I'm going to speak the vision. And what I find with videos is when you start to, there's certain videos I do where I'm actually trying to explain what I've done. And most of the time, I'm just doing a little of this, a little of that. I'm not making that one video that fully explains the philosophy of what this is. Right. And sometimes I'll go up there and I'll try a little or I'll try more than normal. And all of a sudden I'm speaking a lot of stuff. It's flowing out of me. And when I hear it back, I'm going, that's a good idea. There's something to that. And I think for you in the same position or anyone else out there, that it's that 9 levels of commitment again. Like there's more, like you think you're at enough, you think you're putting enough commitment in, but it's not enough. You're at level 3 and it's going to take level 9.
Yeah.
And you're just realizing there's a level 4. And until you have that scale of knowledge about when people do something amazing, like they are, they have absolutely no doubt and they're absolutely committed. Like there's no in-betweens, and they start to live their life that way. And because of that, they achieve what they're aiming at. But we have so many distractions. We have so many doubts. We have so many things that break the bubble for the vision until you get to the point of, no, this is the vision and this is going to be accomplished by us. And I have no doubt. And now I'm going to speak about it in this way because it takes the courage to do so. And then what happens is there's just a different listening from people.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're speaking about that vision, about that future, like for me, I sense that it's coming to this present moment, to like it's about here and about now. It's not something that's gonna happen in the future. It's not somewhere where we're going, or like it's like really that like all of those things are pointing to here and now. That we have what we need here. That we have like right now is the only thing that we have, that we actually have access to, like this present moment. So in speaking out of my vision, like my vision is like pointing at here and now. It's not pointing at somewhere in the future, like this community is gonna happen and this like these technologies and things are gonna be available. It's like about like that we have this right here, right now. These maps are inside of myself. These maps are here. That map that you have in the back, the time cycle map, it's inside of me. Like because I've seen it, I studied it, I've had it in my living room or like wherever I am. Like visible, I've drawn it myself. So like it's inside me. So now I can be in the present moment with that map. Like that map it originates from here. So it becomes a part of me. And I think this is the value of these tools and these cards and of these maps, that they can really help us be more present, be present with one another, be present with what is, be present with a whole lifetime cycle, like with knowing that, fuck it, it's awesome. Like what we're doing is amazing and it's fucking epic. That there is this whole cultural context out there that is trying to keep us in this box and this thing, and that we have saying like this shit doesn't work. But this shit is keeping me in a trap, is keeping me in a prison, and I'm gonna like put it over here, and I'm gonna do something else because that stuff doesn't make sense. And maybe when we're in the street or relating with others, or even when we're in our survival strategy of like trying to make money, or I need money to live, then we put that back on so that we can assimilate with the world. We put the mainstream culture into our being to be able to be have a connection with that culture. But I think that that's coming to like an end. Like we don't need that, like this culture that you're creating, and the is it originates from a different place. It has a different point of origin, that it is not greed or betrayal, competition, this like lust and jealousy. It really, like, we have a different value system, and because we have been raised inside of the mainstream culture, we have been hammered in those values inside of ourselves. So inside of myself, I still carry this competition thing with other men and with other women, and I carry this unconscious resentment and unconscious sense of betrayal. So it's like I'm like doing the process of like, how am I still wearing that thing that I don't take a stand for? I don't take a stand for that culture. I want to take a stand for the culture that I believe in, that I, not just that I believe in, that I know it's possible, and that originates in the present moment, that originates here, that this is the origin. We're in an extraordinary space that is different from the normal paradigm, from the normal cultural context, from the mainstream capitalist, the patriarchal cultural context. And we're like, as researchers, we're like going to the edge and going like, something else is possible. I know it because I feel it, and these maps are inside me, and I have this connection with you that goes beyond production and beyond creating money, or beyond convincing some people to use these tools. And it's like a connection that we're having here right now, and this is precious to me, that I have Elijah's attention, and to work together, like in a way to help each other, to see each other. Like I see you, and I see you, like what you have been creating and what you are creating, and I appreciate you beyond what you do, beyond your creation, beyond these cards. I appreciate you, and I still think, and I'm playing in this game because I see value in it. And yeah, I think that's my vision, and I'm using my courage to speak about that. That is about this present moment, like it's about here and now, and it's so powerful to go here and like say like, fuck, I have all of my energy here and now, and I can speak from it, and this is what I'm angry about what's happening right now. I'm angry that we're living in these boxes, houses, and we're like, so like, I'm missing the physical connection, working with teams in person, and I'm really missing that. I'm really like, I'm sad about that. And so like, this is all information that I'm getting from the here and now, about what is happening for me. Cool. And I think that i I appreciate this because it helps me to see that I value so much this present moment.
Well, I guess for me, there's a there's a bit of an underlying joy in terms of the realness of this conversation, of what's being discussed, of how this is recorded, of how this can be shared, of this is part of the process of sharing knowledge with others as we go through this process. And you're in another part of the country, and I'm another part of the country, and that we have the ability to actually freely talk and record and put it up on the internet for others to see. I mean, that's, in my day, that didn't exist. That it's so simple, that it's available, and that our rights are being played with, like we're tasting this. And imagine if tomorrow they said we can't do this anymore. You don't have a license, and if you only you can't talk about what you're talking about. That's the type of world we're in, right? We're on the verge of, we could have this huge new paradigm, but this one doesn't want this to happen. So there's a war. There's fundamentally a war between the people who are here and here, and we're trying to wake up the ones that are trapped here. We're trying to, there are those that are already here. There are those that are bridging this, and there are those that are trapped here, that are aware of it, but don't know how to get to here. And so part of, let's say, the training process, or part of this, I said that the 5 spaces map was the first interface, but essentially this is the first interface of choosing which paradigm you're going to go into. Because fine, I mean, if you want to go into the fear-based paradigm, we can go. Yes.
Well, I see like a triangle, and like there is the old paradigm. It's like, let's call it the mainstream culture, this capitalist, competition-based, money value system. This culture that values money over people, over connection, over life. And then there is, so what I'm saying is that I don't see it as a move from the old to the new. And I do see that the new paradigm is this like new culture that we're creating, that we're taking a stand for, about love and connection and communication, and that neither of them are right or wrong, are good or bad, but that they're both catalysts for this present moment to be like, it's not about choosing one or the other. To me, it really is not. Like, it's about like knowing what is creating my present moment. And I think they are both creating that thing. So it's not about choosing love or fear, but it's about like integrating both, like that. I have fear and I have love, and they can both exist. And how do they what are they doing in my present moment? And
I could see where you could have yeah. I'm not sure that I like what you're saying. You're kind of disagreeing with me. I don't think you can go into my paradigm.
yeah. So
You're right. I mean, you just trumped me pretty good in terms of, I was caught in the dualistic thinking, and you bridged it with unity, and that's a powerful reframe. So thank you. It's easy for me to sort of jump in here and go on a rant about how bad it is, and I think that keeps me in that paradigm, and so you just lifted me out.
well, I'm seeing right now like a circle, and that like evolution works like a circle. Like that circle in the present moment is like a circle, and sometimes you can go on a tangent of it and think like, oh yeah, like I'm going. Of course, this makes sense. Like I'm going from the past to the future, or from the old paradigm to the new paradigm, and then you go on a tangent and you escape the circle. Uh, and like a lot of people go there, and like sometimes the purpose of this is to keep the circle moving. This is like what gives life to the circle. But I think for us as edge workers, our job is to keep like moving with the circle. Like we are here because we didn't go on a tangent with this, like making money or getting famous or getting rich or getting and so like, yeah, like the purpose, like stay with, like, to get, like, for example, like this new shift of perspective that I say, that it's not about choosing one or the other, but about how is that like bringing you in the present, and that brings you back into the present moment, where there is neither or the other. It's not about like you're neither in the new paradigm or the old paradigm, but we are both, because in a way, like, I come from the old paradigm, and I'm escaping from the old paradigm, and I'm entering into this new paradigm, but I'm still like in the present moment, and like I'm a product of both of them, something like that. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. It does. I'm just thinking you're growing on the screen and I'm getting smaller and smaller, and your present moment is overwhelming me.
That's how. Well, what feelings are there for you? Because yeah, when you
Well,
go into the present moment, like, there is feelings there.
but my feeling is I'm getting hungry and I'm thinking about lunch, and so
So what if you feel like joy, anger, sadness, fear, or joy? Which one would it be?
I said hunger. I'm not letting you give my four categories. I'm taking hunger.
So I would say like that's some sort of fear that you'll die of malnourishment.
Oh, it's quickly moving to irritation because you're not hearing me, and
Cool.
I want
Now,
to end the conversation because I'm getting hungry and I want to go.
cool. I'm guessing that that's anger.
Yeah, now it's angry. It wasn't, but now it is.
Cool, cool.
So, I
Thank you.
I it's great having this one. It's great having this one-on-one with you.
Go get some substance.
Yes, I need substance. I think we covered a lot. I'll pop this up. And so what's your next step?
Making more videos.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I would
speaking.
add in to look at your ideal week.
Yeah.
To look at specifically, just actually say if you are charging some money, let's just do it, right? And just look, it's an ideal. It's just an exercise. You can do it where people are giving donations. I like personally an exchange that's for the meaning of the experience. Like, let's say somebody goes to a movie and that's a great movie and somebody pays $50, but somebody else hated it and they pay $2. What was the meaning of the experience for the person? And then it's up to them to determine. But if they keep giving you $5, you can drop them because you're going, it ain't meaning, and my meaning of my experience is too low to continue this, my friend.
Well, I get it like as a feedback from the universe.
Yeah. So you've got something coming this Saturday?
Yeah.
10 till 12 o'clock. I think I'm going to go. I actually invited 20 people and I shared it to 10 different Facebook groups.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
My usual experience is that'll bring in 1 or 2 people if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
But you never know, right? Like if I'm doing it for someone else, it may be very different. I was surprised that the Facebook group said yes, and there were some very interesting Facebook groups. So who knows? Who knows?
Cool. Yeah. So it's from 10 to 12 this Saturday,
PST?
January 21st, Pacific time.
Yeah.
And the space is called From the Ground Down and Up. And it is for, like a radical space of relating, where we relate with one another in the present moment. And we bring up these questions and speaking towards questions about villaging, about like community, about like the pains and the struggles and the blockages that we have to get to community, and also tools and maps and distinctions and experiments to relate in the present moment in an authentic way in the village.
Okay, wait a second here. I want to do something for a second. Okay, if anyone listening, thank you for listening. This is Captain Sweep and
Jorge Pedret.
And we'll see you next time around.